So why do you think Grayscale Bitcoin Trust is not allowed to do it?
Great to be back. Thanks for having me on, Charles. So I think it's very simple. I don't think it's an issue specifically with Grayscale because around 4 to 5 Bitcoin spot ETFs have been rejected in the last few months. I think it comes down to the fact that Gary Gensler just thinks it's too risky for investors. With regards to Grayscale Bitcoin Trust, he thinks that they haven't done enough to prevent against manipulation and fraud. But I think this is slightly ridiculous because they have, of course, approved the futures ETF, which actually, in my opinion, is a lot riskier for investors, just given the complexity of that financial instrument. But ultimately, this is what it comes down to. If they do approve a Bitcoin spot ETF, that will spark the next bull market, regardless of the liquidations and everything that we're seeing right now and the selling pressure. That will spark the next bull market. And they need to figure out how they can take a piece of the pie. And they haven't yet done that. They haven't yet implemented enough regulation in order to take a piece of the pie. But they better hurry up, Charles, because if they don't, we've got Canada, Australia, and parts of Europe, which is really just beating America right now.
You know, it's so amazing to me that, that the SEC is saying, okay, that would be their answer. We're trying to protect investors. I can name a gazillion stocks over the last 20 years they provided little to no protection about. And a number of investments, including all the times Wall Street almost blew up the entire world with their greed and unbridled greed and knowing that they would be bailed out. So I find it to be completely irresponsible and unfair. And I tend to agree with you. Something is going on behind the scenes to slow this whole thing down. In fact, there's a report that was commissioned by the Pentagon. I saw it yesterday. It blew my mind. They're saying that blockchain is not decentralized, that it's vulnerable to attacks, and they say that the software is outdated. Does that mean the whole premise is outdated, that it's no good?
Oh, well, what they're talking about is no good because it's completely incorrect. Of course, we know there's over 20,000 different cryptocurrencies, and Bitcoin is completely different to all the other assets. Cryptocurrencies come in many different shapes and sizes, if you like. Some are totally centralized, some are VC-backed, some of the networks go down. Bitcoin is totally different because it is entirely decentralized. There is no CEO, there was no pre-mine, and so for some unknown reason, they're really lacking a lot of nuance there. It's very reductionist. I think it's absolutely false. And as we know, Bitcoin is in a league of its own. It's nothing like the others. Like I said, VC-backed. They don't even pretend to be decentralized. Bitcoin is decentralized, no CEO, and that is really important. That distinction is essential. So thank you for allowing me to make that distinction.
Hey, listen, when the Pentagon, says it's not, when you start to get the Pentagon involved, you do scratch your head. I got to tell you, it does seem to me the establishment kind of putting up these speed bumps so that the Federal Reserve maybe could get its own central bank currency in place. Now, you say that these CBD, the central bank, the decentralized currencies, that they're the ultimate form of authoritarianism. What do you mean by that?
That is correct. So central bank digital currencies are basically cryptocurrencies because they're on blockchain technology, but they're dangerous because they'll be highly programmable. So if for whatever reason you don't support the current thing and you don't get either vaccinated or whatever it is, that money can be programmed to work against you. So during the height of the pandemic, many people who were unvaccinated weren't allowed to go in certain shops. So instead of doing that with a central bank digital currency, because it's programmable, that level of discrimination becomes far more efficient. And also, if we look at the economics of this, during times of economic uncertainty, central banks like to print more money in order to stimulate the economy. They need that money to change hands. But we could get to a point where, because this central bank digital currency is programmable, that money could essentially expire. So the central bank will say to you, we need you to spend the money. So if you don't spend, let's say, 10% of what you have in your bank account in the next 3 months, that money is going to expire. Wow. That's your hard money that you've earned is going to expire. Right. But of course, Charles, they're doing it to protect you so they can stimulate the economy. Yeah. Very dangerous. Central bank digital currencies are more efficient enslavement machines.